If you race the NASCAR Next Gen and you are looking to step up your game by utilizing and understanding the garage and iRacing, this is the video series for you. Welcome everyone to Race Ready, a series where I, PB Henry, will be walking you through a variety of cars and getting people to know their cars in iRacing. That means understanding how the real life works compared to iRacing and what is different. I'll talk about what we can change or what we can't change on the cars and other things of this sort. First off, we're starting with the Next Gen. This is the primary car that we specialize building setups for in our personal Discord server. So let's get right into it. What is the Next Gen? The Next Gen is the newest NASCAR Cup level car, or unlike most stock cars, it has an underbody with a diffuser. It has a symmetrical shape, meaning it's not skewed to one side, giving a different side force than most stock cars. The tires are also a lot different than what they used to be. The sidewall is very thin on these things, and they're also one lug nut. These cars also have a fair amount of drag with not as much power that we used to have, but they still put around 670 on the mile-and-a-half or the normal package, or 550 on super speedways, of which there are 4 different packages, which we will get more into depth with as we go throughout the series, but here's a simple rundown. There's the super speedways, which has the big spoiler, low horsepower, the 550, and with this package, you're going to want the car to keep the car very flat from the front to the rear. Maybe a half inch of rake. That is positive rake, not the negative rake where the front is lifted up. But this is where the rear is just a little bit more than the front of the car. Like I said, maybe a half inch at most on these super speedways. Then there is the primary package. For most tracks, you can hear people talk about the mile-and-a-half package. This is your standard large oval tracks. This package has 670 horsepower, the regular normal spoiler, same diffuser with all the normal spokes that came with this car, but this is the base package for this car. Next up is the short track package. This car has a very much minimized diffuser. There's, I think, 2 strakes taken out of the rears. The left rear spring is capped at only 1,500 pounds per inch in the left rear compared to the 3,000 on the mile-and-a-half package. The fronts are going to typically be softer, whereas the mile-and-a-halves you're going to run big springs overall. We'll get into that in a later video. Then you have the road course. This is a similar mix between the mile-and-a-half package and the short track package. The rear spring rate capped at 3,000 pounds per inch, and the fronts are capped at 4,600. So you don't have the left rear cap that you do, but you don't have the mile-and-a-half package on the rears where you can also go up to 4,600 like you do on the fronts. You're going to have the same less underbody and the smaller spoiler from the short track package. So it's kind of a mix between the two. So that is the packages of the Next Gen. Garage changes. So now that we understand basic composition of the Next Gen, let's look at the garage and see what options we have to change. For this video's example, we're going to be at Kansas. This is the mile-and-a-half package. For this, we've loaded up the base iRacing Kansas setup. Tire pressures. This is the tires page where we can change the tire pressures, but we can also get data back after a run, and we can see hot pressures and also see temps, the last temps that were recorded. And this is the outside tire temp that is recorded. It's not the core. Chassis page. This is the chassis page. This is where the bulk of the setup is built. It is broken up by sections, but a lot of them work very close together or interchange with one another, and one can affect the other. As you can see, the rear spring rate is capped at 3,000. You can go below, but you can't go above it. And then your camber in the fronts can go all the way up to 6 degrees, positive or negative, and the rears can go to 4 degrees. This can change depending on the height. So some heights can go up to 4 degrees, some can go to 3.9, just to kind of depend on where you are at on your heights. Fuel is limited in these cars. You can only put 20 gallons in. At most, mile-and-a-halves is about 67 laps, give or take. So now let's go on track. Let's take a look at the car there. So you can see how the splitter bumps up just a little bit here in the center. It flattens out down towards the ground on the sides. In the previous gens, this thing would be sealed off all the way. You would want no air to go underneath this car because it was not flat. So you want to keep all the air from creating drag and lift underneath the car. So you want all the air all up on top. Now this car, it has its step up just for the reason of the diffuser, which is at the back of the car. It helps feed air underneath, causing it to go faster and speeding up the air underneath the car and basically sealing the car down and holding the car down the exact opposite way a plane wing works. This is where all of your downforce is going to be made in the next gen, is on this diffuser and on this underbody. Now this part my mouse is on right here is not all on the road courses or short tracks. These are the straights. These are very much kind of help smooth the air, should I say, on the rear end, and help it smoothen out and help create that kind of downforce, and also but helps the trailing car as well. Symmetry and tires. You see how symmetrical the car is? You know, on both sides is exactly the same. From one side to the other, we don't have that side force that we used to have with the Gen 6, where the right side would be very, very, very flat, and the left would kind of skew a little bit towards the right, which would create that flat side on the right. Also, the tire wall on this thing is extremely thin. You used to have a thing called, you know, sidewall bite. This tire, there's just, the sidewall is so thin, you don't have that. So the edge of control, or the edge of which you slip, is very much, you can have a chance at slipping more, I guess you could say, just because of how thin it is. So now that we understand the car, what are some tools you will need to help yourself get better? My two favorite things in the world from a building perspective is Motec and Stint Analyzer. From a driving perspective, Stint Analyzer is the only thing you will need. Stint Analyzer is a app built by Ricky Thompson. It is found in our Discord. You can also find a link down below. It is crucial to getting better at any car. If you do not have Stint Analyzer, I recommend getting it, because it gives you all sorts of hot data right after, and live data. I say live, you do have to exit the session, but you get all past data from previous runs, and you can export them, save them to computer, save them, download them, re-upload them. Just amazing tool. Motec is meant more for builders. I don't do a whole lot of complex things. I mainly just look at heights. Some builders are going to go all out, try and figure out, you know, dynamic weights and shocks and all this. I mainly use it for heights. That is about all I really use it for. Maybe tire temps, active tire temps, you know, throughout a run. But Stint Analyzer is by far the best thing you could ever ask for. So I definitely recommend getting that. If you're into building, I would recommending downloading Motec. If you want a free workbook for the NASCAR Next Gen, we do have those available as well. You can find those in our Discord. It is what I use. It will be the exact same workbook. So that kind of covers everything here for the NASCAR Next Gen as an overview. In the next video, we were going to look at the 1.5 mile packages, and we're going to look at such things as like cambers, casters, tire pressures. But yeah, all that will be in the next video, more in depth on that. So yeah, follow us, hit the subscribe button, and get ready to follow us along on the series.